Welcome to the Deep Dive. Today we're taking a closer look at some key global headlines from July 8th, 2025. Think of it like grabbing the highlights, the really potent stuff from the day's news, and kind of brewing it up just for you.
Exactly. Our goal here is to, cut through all the noise pretty quickly. We want to pinpoint what's actually significant and maybe connect some dots between headlines that might seem, well, totally unrelated at first glance. We'll dig into the currents underneath these events and what they could mean for the bigger picture that you navigate.
Okay, so let's jump right in with a big international story, definitely making some waves. U.S. President Donald Trump has imposed this pretty significant 25% tariff on Japanese imports. What does a move like that, a unilateral action, really mean for global trade?
Well, what's really fascinating and almost immediate is the ripple effect. You saw Brazilian President Lula da Silva. He was really quick to call the move irresponsible. And that's especially interesting given, the ongoing BRICS discussions. These economies are actively trying to build a different kind of economic order, more multipolar.
Right, so it's not just about economics.
Not at all. Tariffs like these, particularly from a huge economy like the U.S., they're not just livers, they're geopolitical statements. Lula's quick criticism really shows how these kinds of unilateral moves can maybe inadvertently just push blocs like BRICS closer together. They might strengthen their internal ties, and that potentially challenges the whole idea of global trade stability as we know it.
That's a critical point, yeah. How economics and geopolitics get tangled. Okay, so let's shift gears a bit. There's also some genuinely positive news on the world stage. India has made some really impressive progress moving up the UN Sustainable Development Goals Index. They've actually entered the top 100. And this reflects big steps in healthcare, education, and renewable energy.
Yeah, India's progress it's quite remarkable, really, a major indicator for global development. I mean, for a country that size, breaking into the top 100 on the SDG index, it really shows how focused, large-scale efforts can work, especially in those key areas, health, education, green energy. It yields substantial results. It's a powerful example for other developing nations.
A real case study.
Definitely. But even as we see nations like India making these global strides, we're also seeing, different kinds of policy tensions emerging much closer to home.
Indeed. And right here at home, we're seeing a really potent example of those tensions playing out. Los Angeles Mayor Karen Bass, she strongly condemned a federal immigration enforcement operation down in MacArthur Park, called it outrageous and un-American.
Right. And this clash, it's more than just who has jurisdiction, isn't it? It really gets to a deeper debate about like local values versus federal mandates, especially on really sensitive stuff like immigration. What it highlights is that ongoing tension, you find it in many democracies when local communities feel like their priorities, maybe even their values, are getting run over by federal policy. And that affects everything, resources, public trust. It's a dynamic we see again and again.
From these big policy clashes and national development stories. Okay, let's pivot now to the business world for a moment. We saw Tesla's stock take a noticeable hit. What was going on there?
Ah, yeah, Tesla. This is almost a textbook case, really, of how a CEO's, let's say, personal activities can directly sway market confidence and the company's value, of course. The stock dipped right after Elon Musk announced this new political venture he's starting. And, well, that naturally raised some eyebrows among investors, concerns about his focus, maybe the stability of Tesla's leadership.
So the CEO's actions outside the company impacting the stock.
Exactly. It underscores that unique risk when a company is so tightly linked to one very public figure. Now, you compare that with, say, Samsung Electronics. They gave much more predictable earnings guidance for Q2, pretty much hit what the market expected. Consolidated sales around 74 trillion Korean won, operating profit about 4.6 trillion won. It's that kind of steady, by the numbers performance, offers a real contrast, more traditional, maybe more predictable for investors.
Right, much more what you'd expect from a large corporation. So wrapping this all up, what does this snapshot really mean for you? We've seen trade wars impacting global alliances, national development successes like India's, friction between local and federal power in LA, and even how one person's choices can move markets. It's clear the world stage is, well, constantly shifting and everything's kind of connected. Yeah.
And the real takeaway, I think, is seeing how these things connect, how these events that seem separate, economic policy over here, national progress there, local government clashes, individual leadership decisions, how they all actually intertwine. And they ultimately shape the world that you have to navigate every single day. Understanding those connections, that helps you see past just the headlines.
Absolutely. Keep those curious gears turning. Keep thinking about those connections. And we'll dive deep into your next set of sources very soon.